Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Radhika TechHub. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss on user authorization and creating of JWT token. So, what is the difference between authentication and authorization? We will discuss now. And is authentication. Authentication is nothing but when we log into any website or else any logging to our mails also. So we will enter the email address and then we enter the password, and it will be correct what we has been entered means then only we are logging to that website or any mail, or we are entering into it. So nothing but here the API is eating with database with the table of user information. The email is correct or password is correct, either email or password in any of it these two wrong means it is through the password mismatch or username is mismatch. So whether both are correct means we are entering into it. So nothing but a authentication. The authorization, the small difference is okay, we are logging into it. First, the authentication completion we are having with the team of team members. When we working in the company means we are having to check in of 1 week attendance or 1 month attendance. We will be entering into it, and it will be authored or approved by someone else. If you are applying for the leave also, when the schooling time we will write a letter to the principal and it is submitting our class teacher, is it right? So she is accepting our leaves, or else we are posting our attendance, it has to be approved by someone else. The approval will be approved by someone or some employee or some team lead will be approved that. So he what we are posting, what we are applying will be go to that employee. He has to be approved that. So he has the access to approve that page what we has been posting, that will be reached to that person, only that person, not other persons. So it has been access. So some pages will be access to some members and some pages will not be access to some persons. So that is the difference, that is the permissions. So based on the role, they have some permissions to some websites, some sites, or some components, some pages. So that is the how will deal with the authorization, that has nothing but a permissions to their depending on their roles. So we will write the API first for that, and we will generate our token, and we will use that token into our front end, and we will give the permissions based on the role to the pages. So this is the how we will discussing now. The email and password is mismatched or matched, nothing but an authentication. And I told that the permissions to some pages, right? So as we know that it's a nav bar. So home page is a common page for all and about page is common page for all. Every user can see the home page, right? So I want some permissions like for this page, for approval page has a permission to the employee. So and everyone cannot see this approval page. Only who has a permissions to that page, the employee only can see that page, and he only approved that page. He only approved for those requests. So that is nothing but a authorization giving permissions to their depending on their roles. So what is a JWT token? So already we discussed about the password, that when we used to sign up a registration, the password which we are entering is converting to the hash code. So we able to see that hash code in the database, but we cannot understand what is the password in that the employee has been created for their authentication, right? So the same like that, the person details, when we log in, the person details coming as a response. So no one can understand, only they can see in the console of token when we console it. So it will provides a security for our data. Mainly this is used for the authorization. So it will carry the response of the user information or anything else. Mostly we will use in the authorization purpose. So the data will be securely, it will passes the response. So you can see that it is a self-contained way for security transformation information. Nothing but we are getting the response in the form of token, right? The information in the token is a user information now, which we are discussing. So this is the most common scenario for using JWT. Once the user is logged in, each subsequent request will include the JWT, allowing the user to access route services. Nothing but a permission to some specific pages, right? So that will be used mostly in the authorization purpose. So we will start our coding with creating an API with the login, authentication, and transferring user information in the form of token to our front end pages. When we log in into it, it passes the token. So in the token we will include the data. So now we will create an API of login itself. So const user login I am taking. First we will write an API of login. In the previous video I has been posted with the user authentication. In that video the user can log in through their username with the password and email with the password. So in this now I am only explaining with the email address itself. So if you want to log in through the username also means, you can see that video has been posted in the below description. You can find the link of user authentication video. But here now I am with authenticating with only email address. So here I am taking email and password, which is coming from our request.body. So I has to write the query, right, for checking an email address. So const SQL query equals to so I am using with user information table. I am containing the information of registration. So user information is a table where we can check the email is present or not, and where email equals to which I am entering is present in our database or not. We'll check here where email here which we are passing here email which are passing, and it will check whether it is present or not in the database. Now we will connect to our database, right? So you can see our database here. The connection has been already am connected with the database. So you can only install MySQL and environment here, environment which is to provide our passwords and our database links. If you are using the MongoDB means MongoDB URL connection, so it will be secret, right? And the passwords which we provide the security purpose, we will use the env, and there we can provide our link and we can retrieve here. So mysql.create connection, it will create the connection with the taking of host name which we are using, and the database here I'm using is a user db, and the user, if your MySQL means or MongoDB means, you can provide that information in the env, and you can pass or import here process.env.user and password which has been stored in the env file, and we has to create the connection, right? Already we are created with the our credentials, and we connect to the database. If it is wrong means it will, any password mistake means it will throw an error, SQL error, and if it is connected successfully means database connected successfully, which we are getting now. And you can see here it is connected with successfully with the port number of 4000. So we'll create we'll call our database here dbcon.query. So here I'm passing my query, and we'll check whether it is coming an error or data. So whether my email is present or not, we don't know, right? If the if the email is present, so it will get the information or the data which we stored in the data value. Here the data value is not empty. So if data dot length, so we'll pass it in the try and catch. So it will response dot json. Here is the status with 400, and the message which I am passing is error here. So try catch. If data dot length equals to 0, length equals to 0, we will pass that user not matched. So with the status of 400, and with the message we will pass as user not matched. When the data with containing the email is matched, and we will get the data, so at the time we will check the password. If the email is matched means we'll check the password. So we will write the password with the, we will write another query. So we will doing the authorization, right? At this time const SQL query 1 I am taking here. I created one table called as roles. We will see that when I will show you. So we can see here with the ID and employee ID and role ID and role name. So when the employee ID with 1100, the person with the employee 1100, and he is a role ID of 1. So employee ID will be different for an individual person having a unique number of that employee ID. So basing on employee ID in the user information we are having the employee ID. So when it is matched with the user table employee ID and roles ID, so that person having particular permissions for that means nothing but a access to the specific works. So based on that, when we log in, the different pages will be different for persons. For the normal employees will having the normal pages, and for the who has a permission they have a more information than those employees. So we will call this table select star from roles which has been created, the table name is, and here I am checking where employee ID. So where employee ID equals to, here I am taking the, so this will be created in here itself, because from the data we are getting here. So here data of 0 dot employee ID. So when the employee ID which is present in the database of user information, that ID to be equal to the employee ID which is present in roles. If it is matched means we will check the password. When I am registering the password in the form of hash code, so we have to compare it, right? So at this time, if we have to use await bycrypt.compare of request.password, that to be equal to what? Data of 0, that password which is present in our database. So when it is equal means at this time we will check in our database. So db connection dot query of SQL query 1. If it is an error or it is matched means we will check if it is correct. So at this time the employee ID will be matched means we will create one JWT token and we will pass our data which is present in our user data, and roles which is role has been allocated to that person will be passed by through the JWT token. So we have to, before using of JWT, we have to install JSON web token. So npm I JSON. So we can also find here that how to use this token also. So you can find here. So expiry, and we have to create one security key for this, and we have to pass the data here. They are passing some data and the private key for the security purpose. And so this is the how they will use. They will pass the data and the security key and the expired. We are not using now expiry. So you have to install this one, and we will import that here. So const JWT equals to require. Here we'll use the JSON. So it is not installed still. Now we will create one security key. So here I'm using, if you want to protect this one key means you can create in the env file and import here. So I'm creating here security key equals to whatever you want, you can keep here. I will be passing like just like this. So when it is matched, the role is matched here. So we will do here as if the data now const authorization we are doing here now, right? So JWT we has been created as required JSON web token. So JWT dot sign of, we have to pass the data here. So it is coming from as a data itself. So import here as a data, or else we can keep here as a data one like this also. What are you will do, name it here you can. So data one I am passing here, and comma security key. So do it like this, and after that, so we have to throw it the response, right? So response dot JSON with the status of 200, because we has been checked the password and we are passing the data here, and if the role is matched means based on that role we'll passing the data. So with the status of success of 200 and message we are passing as a login success, and I'm passing the data here as or of like token I'm naming here, and we are named as a auth. So how to keep this, it will, the data has been passed here already, we passed the data here, and this data in the form of JWT token, so we are passing this token as a response. So this is the how we'll create our API for login. Now we will check in our Postman, passing the our roles permissions data here. So if the password is not matched, we have to pass password not matched. So response.json, here I am passing with the status of 400 itself and the message with password not matched. Or else we will pass here, please take the password. Please take the password. Now we'll check once in our Postman. So before that we have to, so it's already done. So it is closed here. So we have to export this one, and we will pass this in our router. So router dot post, here I am passing of login. So user service dot user login here. App.js, already this router has been imported here. Now we'll check in our Postman. The 4000 we are passing, right? So body. So, and with the email Radhika and the password Radhika at the rate 1 is already the password, and Radhika with the name of it is present, but we are checking with the email, right? So Radhika at the rate gmail.com. We'll check once. So it is the 400. Getting the error of JSON web token sign. So here we are doing dot sign data one. So sorry, security key we have to pass after the data passing. So now we will check. It is connected successfully. So we are getting the token successfully. We are getting the token. Once we will change the password and we'll check. So please check the password. If you are entering the password mistake, so check the password, it is coming. We will do the email wrong. What we will get, we'll see. So user not matched. The email is checking whether it is correct or wrong. If we enter the email with wrong, mistakenly we mistake email is passed means it is passing that user not matched. The password wrong means please check the password, and if the password is correct means we are getting the token here. So we are successfully completed our. This is the part 1. We completed our API and we generated our token by using in the JWT. So we will discuss in the part 2 how to integrate and how to give the permissions to the web pages based on the role. Let's be discussed in the part 2 about the integration of API, and we will give the permissions to the web pages. This video, please subscribe to my channel and like me and comment me and click on the bell icon. It will give the notifications when I upload the new video.